Episode 6, cat's out of the bag, bags down the river. I thought this was one of the best TV episodes I've seen this year. I was so lit up, excited, energized by this episode of TV, so I want to get into it. Let's start off with Andor and Luthen. Now, I love the acting between Diego Luna and Stellan Skarsgård in this scene. I think that they've been dancing around each other this season, and this could be really the first real quality interaction these two characters have had. And wow, does it show their different philosophies and ways of being. Now, Dan, you already talked about this a bit, and in terms of how Luthen is kind of excited at the prospect of Gorman being the sacrificial lamb for the rebellion. Andor says, well, what happens when it burns? And I think Luthen says, it will burn very brightly.
Crazy.
What? His bars are crazy.
When Andor turns down this job, did you guys know it was going to Vel, like someone a little colder than Andor? Were you surprised to see her crop up? This is what I'm saying. Like, this is the deep bench of this show, just elevating the players from the back. That they've been built up so well with such good writing and performance that when Vel does come back, I'm locked in. I get it. I understand her. I know who she is, and I'm ready for what follows, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all. I'll be honest. Like, I didn't really know where we were going. I figured we weren't done with Gorman, obviously, but I wasn't like, oh, he's got a whole other team on this planet if Cassian doesn't want it. And makes sense, obviously. Like, this dude's a nut job. Like, he's just like, nah, we need this. Like, you could tell how bad he knows that he needs this planet to go up in flames to get his cause going. So, you know, I thought it was excellent storytelling.
Yeah, it's almost like he sees any outcome as ideal.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if they fight and win, cool. Like, if they get literally slaughtered, that's awesome too. But I think it's cool how you're getting to see a planet that has like a lot of resources and a lot to offer. You feel they kind of think it has like, you know, strategic or monetary value for a war. And I think the Empire probably feels the same way, which is why they're doing so much there, and whatever is happening. And I
it's
think
like two countries like fighting for like a country that has a there you go. So
yeah,
you know, I think that's pretty
yeah.
I also think the combustibility of Gorman, I think we're saying the same thing, is just exciting to the rebellion and to the Empire. If this blows up, both sides will turn the crisis into advantages for themselves or try to.
I feel like that's the whole kind of point of the show, is that just like in being indifferent and like nothing happening and being stagnant is bad for everybody. But like having bad things happen or good things happen, no matter what, you could change the messaging and then act on that. Like both sides are doing it. Like the Empire's like, oh, if we get smoked by something, then we could come in with triple the force and just blow them off the planet. And the Rebel Alliance is like, oh, if they get smoked, we're going to get other planets that are going to be sympathizers and we'll get more people to our cause. So stagnant is bad. So they're trying to make anything happen right now.
Sean, I think what you just said is spot on. Like, it's kind of the thing where you'll poke at someone, hoping they take a swing at you, but then you have a bazooka, right? And it's like, well, you swung at me, so I'm now going to use this bazooka. Like, that's
self-defense.
That's what the Empire wants, right? Like, it's abusing to the point that they cause a reaction, and then getting to respond with 5-10 times more force, which feels very real. So,
yeah. And then on a micro level, on a character level, I was just so riveted by Andor's increasing paranoia with Luthen and about Luthen. And I found this to be very grounded in a great way. I loved the second meeting between Andor and Luthen, where Andor finds out that Luthen visited Bix, and he breaks all protocol to come to Luthen's shop. And Luthen turns from very calm to absolutely the craziest eyes from Stellan Skarsgård. And he says, this is the second time today you let me down. And Andor's like, we're not droids. And I love that line. And Luthen, I forget what he says, but it just keeps going with the same Luthen energy. And Diego Luna lets out a scoff in this scene, like, man, like you're just not it. Ideologically, philosophically, seeing two kinds of rebels that are both honestly kind of great at their jobs from the job point of view. But at every moment where Luthen is cold and calculating, Andor is showing humanity. And that's why he's our hero. And I'm not saying this in a cheesy kind of way. Like, it is hard-earned emotionality we're seeing from Andor, which remains very respectable to me. And I like seeing him get too upset at Luthen. I like seeing him be there for Bix. I like seeing him get a little nasty with the girl on Gorman. Like, I just think we're seeing more colors to him as a person. and that's why he's our hero.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys maybe a question. Like, say Cassian completely falls in love with Bix, and it got to a point where he was like, I'm stepping away from the rebellion, this is too dangerous, maybe she's whatever. Like, there's something where he's like, this is now my priority. Do you think Luthen is someone who would, like, have her killed, or, like, frame that the Empire did it or something like that? Like, do you think he would do that, go that far to bring Cassian back? I mean, it's serious
so
question.
fucking dark, and yes, I think 100%. That makes a ton of sense to me.
I think we're going in that direction. I really do. I don't know about the pregnant angle and that kind of like darkness. It could certainly get there, but I really think
we killed younglings once, so.
And we've done some
people are
heinous
cheering
shit
for
in this.
it in theaters right now.
I was cheering for it the other day.
There
like
you
I was
go.
at a rock concert, but I think that's where this is going, man. Like I think she's not in Rogue One. And I think like he's starting to, we'll get into it, like the awesome ending of this episode, but they're going to get tighter and maybe like her screws not quite as tight as Cassian's trying to, get back in. He's trying to like keep her sane and maybe all these things like over these years aren't going to be enough. And Luthen's tired of it. He's like, stop focusing on her, focus on the fucking mission. And maybe that brings these two to a head. So I don't know. That's kind of where my mind's going.
Will be brutal to watch.
Yeah, that'll be tough.
And great storytelling. Over at ISB, we're reminded that Dr. Gorst is around and kicking, unfortunately, that his program is being expanded on the order of the Emperor. Great Partagas episode, this episode. He's got zingers. Talk about zingers. He says to Lonnie and Dedra's old assistant when they're excited about taking on this assignment, calibrate your enthusiasm.
He's great. He's like an excellent
amazing. Someone I knew was not making it out of this episode. Actually, I didn't know which one, or maybe it was going to be both, were Cinta and Vel. Now, Cinta has been added to the mission to help out the rebels with their extraction, theft, heist of Imperial weapons. Again, these are supporting characters, but for a few minutes in this episode, they were as serious and important as main players, and that's just great performance and writing. What do you guys think about Cinta and Vel here?
I kind of like am not overly interested in them the same way I was with Will, and then the show just writes so well that they get me interested. You know what I mean? It's just like maybe at the start of the episode, I wasn't ever eye rolly. I'm never like get me off this scene. But I was always just like, okay. But then by the end, I was like, God damn, man. So it's like performers are so great. I think the writing's really interesting. And I like, again, like how this show is able to tell how relationships evolve over these years passing without actually showing it. Like people bitch all the time about how TV shows are like 6 to 8 episodes now. And they're like, we don't get to live with the characters anymore. We don't get these little moments. And like, this is a show that I think could have felt that way, but doesn't, because the writing's so good. It feels like there's actually so much time lived there and like it feels earned. So yeah, I really like the relationship between the two. And it's just, everyone in the show has complexities and it's awesome.
Sean, we talked about it last episode. This isn't just sci-fi. This isn't just espionage. It's space opera, and there's romance in it, and it fits, and it makes sense. Now, how's your friend Star Wars Theory going to feel about a same-sex makeout?
That'd be very interesting. I don't know what side of the grifting sphere he's on. I don't know. I'm just so stunned at like that whole like how they're twisting things in the show to like fit that grifting agenda. I don't know. I don't even know what they're. Listen, it works. It all feels like Star Wars to me. Like the magic of Tony Gilroy and the world building around it. There was a big chance this might have felt very awkward in the Star Wars universe, but as great as he is, like he also probably has a whole bunch of Star Wars nerds on his team and around him that are like, call this planet this. Let's make it look like this. Use this gun instead, and it makes it all feel like Star Wars to me. Well, it all feels natural. It feels like a space opera, so I'm into it, obviously.
Also, the desperation of this moment for the two of them like really charges up the scene, because we don't know who's not making it out of that heist tomorrow, but we know someone isn't.
And they're like getting older, and like you feel like the time passing, and they're like everything feels so fleeting with them, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, man. Like, if you're getting mad about this stuff,
it's
gotta
2025,
bro.
Outside,
bro. Like, seriously. And like, also, I mean, Sean, you just said, I mean, I'm like desperately trying to hold all my political takes in about the show, but like, if this show fundamentally makes you angry, you gotta fucking evaluate that, truly, because everything this show has to say, there's a lot there. And if this show bothers you, you're on the wrong side of a lot of stuff, and you're on the wrong side of history. So like, that's concerning. I didn't know that people were getting mad about this show, but what
Twitter did.
Avoid it. Yeah, seriously.
The big conversation, spark notes, big grifters in the Star Wars sphere say has no place in Star Wars, and they're
That
using
Darth
it like
Vader wouldn't have allowed it.
they're like white knighting Star Wars. Like, we shouldn't allow this type. That like the Star Wars is a safe place for us. Like, you want this in your storytelling, and it's just like, do you want R-rated Star Wars or not? Do you want adult Star Wars? This is adult Star Wars. Do you maybe not like that? Do you maybe just want CGI Luke and Ahsoka to meet each other? Cool, that's great too. I love that shit the same way other people do. But like, I hate that like the second we get something adult and it dives into adult themes, that big man babies, not just that guy, but also like every other person who comments under those things, they're like, hell yeah, these weirdos, they like SA. And I'm like, how are we here? And they're going to do the same thing with the same-sex kiss. They're going to do the same thing with, the stupid, like, the morning show scene. They're going to do that. They're going to be like, oh, look at the colored hair. And that, like, I guarantee you they're going to extract all this bullshit. So I'm over it. I'm just blocking and moving forward at this point.
Again, I think, though, what you're seeing there, like I said, is, like, maybe a more subliminal reaction to this show and what they're seeing and what it has to say and the themes. And, like, I think that's worth diving into, probably, for people.
All right, well, let's get back to this heist that's being planned. Before the heist happens, just the planning of it is an amazing scene with Vel. Vel puts down these rebels more than once in this episode, and I loved each time it happened. But just the ticking clock that's immediately injected into this when they literally start a timer for saying that this is a 6-minute plan, it's just ratcheting up the tension to the point where it's unbearable later in the episode. And I loved it. I thought of Ocean's 11, for example. Just any great heist movie, there's always the planning scene, and it's always a highlight. But let's talk about the party scene. We need a lot of space for this one because party scenes are great in TV. They allow for many characters to be interacting at once. They can spark and catalyze these very exciting interactions. First up, I just wanted to note that Senator Organa was recast. In the prequels, he's played by Jimmy Smits, and here he's been recast as Benjamin Bratt, which is funny because I used to get these two actors mixed up all the time. So if they're casting them as one another, good job by them. I have a feeling Senator Organa is going to be in the later episodes more. You guys felt that too?
Yeah, I did. And I like the recasting. I was like, is that who I think it is? Like, why did they recast that? Like, there's got to be a reason for it. I know that guy's, getting a little bit older, so it kind of wouldn't fit the timeline. But like, there's got to be a reason. Like, they're gonna give him some agency. I'm sure they didn't just cast him to be in a quick pass by like a glup shitto scene. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's gonna be some more there.
Yeah. So let's just cover the main players at the party. Set the scene. Obviously, Mon Mothma's here, looking fantastic, throwing fits.
Mom Mothma.
Ani is there, looking very tense and awkward, but when you're a spy, I think that's always how you feel. Leia and Luthen. Perrin. Can't forget Perrin. Dedra's ex-assistant, also a weird-looking fellow. Davos Skolden. And then there's a surprise guest who we're about to get to. But we're not quite there yet. Mon and Luthen have this interaction out on the balcony, and this kind of mirrored the Andor interaction with Luthen, where Luthen's sociopathy is on full display. Mon says, I haven't heard from my cousin in a while. He says, something urgent she needs knowing. And Mon says, yes, I care about her. Now, me saying it is like me retelling a joke that a stand-up comedian said. It's not going to do it justice. But this was a great moment and a great line from Mon. And does it register on Luthen? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe he gets that the people he's working with are human beings with emotions, even if he barely has them. But if that's true, he doesn't betray that. What do you guys think of this moment?
I enjoyed it. I really like this stuff with Mon Mothma and her husband, and like I think something that very interesting this show does, and I mentioned it briefly earlier, but like I think a lot of times when you look like throughout history at like different authoritarian regimes, one of the things they do is like they surround themselves with like opulence and wealth, and they want to like put forward this idea of like being high class. They surround themselves with art and history, or some history, and like that's how they want to be perceived. And I feel like the show captures that so well. And the Hunger Games is all that, but I enjoy these moments, and you see how fucking pointless all of this is, and how full of shit these people are, and how empty and vapid, and everything they do is just for appearances. They don't like each other. It's just bullshit, right? And you see Mon Mothma, like, in all this, like, trying to hold it together, probably thinking about a million other things and just being like, I have to pretend. I think it's such a good performance from her. You know, Luthen, I think probably has an easier time of it because, like, he is a sociopath, I think, and he can just kind of, like, be this other person. And he's just, like, probably having fun, deceiving people. But, like, seeing them kind of both drop their pretenses, and, like, it happens a lot with different characters. I think it's really cool, and, like, it brings back a sense of urgency to these moments. So I enjoyed it a lot.
So Clea has to retrieve that listening device from the piece of art that gets all of our characters together in that beautiful art room. The production design, the art department, hats off to them.
She'll look so good at all times.
Ridiculous.
It's insane. It's so
insane.
Good. I'm like, why doesn't everything look like this? Like, it's like, this is why, like, we'll bitch about CGI and blue screens and the volume, because we know what things can look like, you know?
Well, they spent $645 million.
Give them more money. I said it first podcast. Give them more.
You said that for Severance. You're saying it here.
We just watch high art on this podcast.
But who is in that room besides all those main players I mentioned? Holy shit, it's director Krennic. Is he a director? I don't know. But
yeah, I think so.
Damn, Ben Mendelsohn just popping up out of stage right. What did you guys think when you saw that?
I was kind of just thinking, like, where the hell has this guy been? Like, not that I was like knocking on the show for it, but I was just like, I feel like we probably should have seen something from him at this point. And then he just slides right the fuck in. And it's in that, like, white get up with the cape on. I'm like, this dude is awesome. And he's like, the way he talks and, like, his smile, like, his presence is great in this role.
It's amazing.
I was very happy to have him in this
Ben
scene.
Mendelsohn is hamming it up, and I love it. And Mon Mothma playing off him says, "How pleasant to see you free of the witness stand." And I love what you said, Dan, about the Bernie Sanders of it, because she is kind of that provocateur. And I think she's almost like playing the part even more. I know she genuinely hates this man, but their banter was kind of shockingly amusing.
There was so much of it too. Like, I feel like I'll have to go back and, like, really listen to the banter.
I know.
Because I was so stressed with what we're, I'm sure, about to continue to talk about. But
Right.
I was like, I wanted to listen more about the bullshit they were talking back and forth.
You could really just watch this scene and just pick a character to watch within it and see how they're acting and reacting. So I was kind of watching the entire scene, but I remember one moment just catching Krennic staring down Luthen really closely. And then it's back to the normal bonhomie of them all just checking out the art. But I was like, you know, it's just the tension was stupid high. I was gripping. I don't even know where I was sitting, but and then to cross-cut this with the heist, you're wondering, like, where's the real action? Or is it both places? Is it not, like, where should I look? Because the heist is happening here. Lonnie is trying to help Clea remove this listening device. As this coterie is coming around this circular room to look at the exact piece, I can't even do it justice, like I'm saying.
The way
it's just
this
incredible scene.
The way this show crosscuts is, like, should be taught in like filmmaking schools. Like, every time they're cross-cutting in, you know, at least one of these finales of the trio of episode releases, like, it hits every time. Like, the tension's perfect. Every scene is rising at the right temperature. It's, I don't know, like you said, I normally don't feel this way about TV when I'm clenching fists and, like, locked in. I'm like that meme of, like, guys sitting up in chair to lock in a little bit more. Like, that's me watching Andor. It's crazy.
Dan, what'd you think of this scene?
I liked it a lot. I think what Sean is saying is the challenge is to, like, maintain the tension in both directions and not give too much in one way to where, like, you forget what's going on or lose interest in the other scenario. I think this show does that very well over and over. I love Ben Mendelsohn. I just watched Freaky Tales, which he's very scary in as well. Really good movie. Yeah, I think what he's doing here is great, and I think he brings a bit of, like a Hans Landa to this, right? Like,
great call.
What's interesting with these scenarios is oftentimes a lot of these Imperial folks are, and again, very fitting, completely fucking inept, and they're very dumb, and that works to the rebels' success, right? It helps them along, and a lot of times there's infighting on both sides, but, like, the Imperials are always squabbling and trying to one up each other and, like, gain more power, but a lot of them are very dumb. So I think having them in a scenario where you feel like, okay, this is someone that's capable, that's actually dangerous, and like his presence just instantly elevates the tension. Whereas if he was not there, you probably feel like it's all going to be fine. So I love seeing him pop up there.
I love that Hans Landa comp because it's a suaveness that is just like delicious.
Which can drop whenever.
Right. Yeah. The heist, I agree that it's crosscut really well, but the heist almost took second screen for me. I did love this camera shot following the ammo going down the chute into the tunnel onto the truck. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
Vel told the rebel upstarts to not have blasters, that only Cinta and herself would have blasters. That advice was not heeded because a skirmish breaks out with a local Gorman, the guy actually who had the speech at the town hall. Big barrel-chested dude. Where'd they cast that guy?
Yeah, I'm not fucking with that guy. Like, I don't know why that like young 20-year-old is getting in, like, don't squabble with that dude.
Right. And the gun goes off that this youngster had, and it hits Cinta. And this is the Pyrrhic victory of the moment, and this is classic Andor, which is you might have a success on one front, but there's always going to be something sour on the other. You might make it out of the prison and then realize you can't swim. And this is that, where they've stolen these goods. There's the added complication that the Empire fully knows that they stole this ammo. And to compound that, Cinta's dead and Vel's heartbroken. And just the calamity of the situation and how dumb it is sucks. I think that's what stings the most, I think.
And I'm not sure if I, like, because I agree it's dumb, right? And I was just like, do I not like this right now? Or am I annoyed and upset at this because I think that, of course, the one blaster shot that goes is going to hit one of these characters, and we kind of knew that was like telegraphed that potentially something was going to go bad here. On one hand, that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, oh, of course, the stray bullet hits Cinta, love story ended, whatever. But on the other hand, I'm like, of course it would, because like they're so incompetent. The driver goes missing to help an old lady. He's trying to squabble with like the biggest barrel-chested man we've ever seen with the biggest forearms I've ever seen. Like, and the gun goes off, and it like none of this had to happen, and it happens. And so I struggle with, do I really like this scene and I'm just annoyed that it happened, or do I just think it's a little too, I don't know. You know where I'm at?
I bought it. I completely understand what you're saying, but I bought it.
This is what I was going to critique earlier. I don't think it's a very good scene, to be honest. Just that aspect of it. I think on a few levels, I think the conflict feels forced. First of all, that guy, you already know he's about it. He's literally with them. He's on their side. To pull a gun on him is, I understand he's supposed to be stupid. That's absurd. Do they not know each other? Like, could he not have just said, hey man, we're stealing some fucking ammo. This is sick. But like, go away. And he'd be like, all right, cool. Like, it feels forced. And like, to me, if you're in that scenario and you're not like, he's never going to shoot that guy. So why pull your gun? And then just like the bolt goes off and it hits her. Okay. Like it felt a little bit forced to me, and it frustrated me. And to me, I also think like, if I'm Vel, like I'm shooting that guy on the spot. Like that person that might be a hot take, literally execute that guy in the street. Like he directly disobeyed you, and then he kills your like girlfriend. Like, just kill that guy. You don't need him. Right?
You ever see the meme, the Brad Pitt meme, the Fury, where he's like, shoot that guy? Like that's just literally what I thought in my mind, where he's just like, shoot that guy. That's Dan pointing at
he's got
the young rebel.
That's fair, and I agree about a bit of the clunkiness with the staging, but I guess what takes it home for me is Faye Marseille as Vel and her speech in the car. Now, why should she kill that guy when she can, it sounds ridiculous to say, but inspire him, teach him to carry this with him?
He doesn't listen. But to push back, I would say like it's a leadership thing, right? Like he could have gotten so many more people killed, and like I feel like you're a rebellion. Like you have a little wiggle room to like shoot somebody here or there. You teach a lesson. I mean, even if you don't shoot him, I feel like there should have been some type of bigger punishment. I don't know.
This is the Star Wars part of it, I think, right? Like this is kind of the hope is at the core of Star Wars, where you can't ever get so low. So they're probably like, okay, we can't. I agree. Like I would have thought they would have shown her like shaking this dude and smacking him and like whatever, and then maybe getting to that point. But I think like I agree, like to
I was really moved by the speech, though. I guess
Speech was great.
It
I thought the
doesn't
speech
sound
was
like
good.
you guys were, but she says regarding Cinta, she was a warrior. She was a miracle. And I'm fucking buying it. Like, I was very distraught. Again, like, we have Brazo dying, didn't care about him, and suddenly he's dead, and I'm, like, shedding a tear. We have Cinta, here, and God, I mean, if that's how we're feeling about these minor characters, we got it coming to us. I can just
we're
tell.
fucked. Like the second, like when Bix gets threatened here, man, like I'm gonna have to start a riot in the streets. Like I don't think I can handle it.
To push back on myself a little bit, I do think at the same time, Vel is like, she's seen shit, she's seen people die. This is not new to her. She's like a very grizzled soldier, and she's a leader. So like I can understand her being able to compartmentalize that and like disassociate there and just be like, I want to keep moving and I'm going to deal with this person later. So I can sort of argue with myself there.
Because that probably could have just blown up like the entire Gorman front if she did that, right?
Yeah,
if
she shoots that
back
guy,
into the
someone
armor.
else tries to kill her, she got to kill that person,
and then Luthen kills all of them, and then we're...
Well, to relieve some pressure, back at the party, one-liner of the episode, Clea and Luthen exiting.
It's great.
Who says it, Clea or Luthen?
Luthen.
Luthen says, well, it would have been easier. We should have killed Krennic while we were up there. And wow, wouldn't that
They like
have
share
fixed
a laugh together. It's great. Like he's like, we should have just killed him.
Such a tense scene that even I could like get a real kick out of that. I was laughing audibly.
It was great.
That is not the end of the episode, though. We have to talk about the end of the episode with Dr. Gorst. He's got a little piece of cake that he's bringing up to his torture pad.
As one does.
I thought maybe he was going to go meet the Emperor. Just maybe. I thought we were going to maybe see Emperor Palpatine.
Emperor's birthday. Bringing him a slice of cake.
Gorst goes up this elevator. He's got his cake. The most loathsome actor. By the way, he's in Industry. I don't know if you guys watch Industry, but he plays the guy that has to fire people in HR. So similarly evil role there. And holy shit, who's there? It's Bix. I thought I was seeing a dream sequence. And I think that's purposefully set up considering how when we've seen Gorst, it has been dream sequences. It feels dreamy. It feels unreal. We've seen Bix, I hate to say it, be on her ass and be inebriated and drugged out. So to see her in this room, I'm shocked, not believing it. The cinematography's gorgeous, the music's swelling. And Sean, you mentioned those levers and buttons and that fade. That's how the first episode in this arc started. It is that lever going up. It is that nightmare. And it's the same thing. It's that fader going up on Gorst, listening to the baby animal screams that have completely fucked up Bix. I'm just thrilled in this moment. And then to cap it off, Bix gets the fuck out of there, walking like a badass, shoots the guard, and who does she link up with but Cassian Andor? Now, I want to know what you guys thought, but I'm hands on head, like those terrible YouTube reaction video thumbnails. I'm like, oh my God, holy fuck. I can't believe they did that. And I just, in an episode that I already loved, like, what a cherry on top. What an ending. But that's me. What'd you guys think about this? It fucked me up in the best way.
I was very nervous at the start of this scene because I was like, oh, is Bix going off the rails? And like, this is going to be like, oh, she's doing this on her own. She's a little drugged, doped up. Like, she's doing this. She's crashing out. She's doing this without Cassian. Like, this is going to be a thing that Luthen can pull and tug on, right? So that's all right. Because initially you're like, yeah, hell yeah, kill this guy, right? Shoot that guy. But this is Dan's like favorite statement this episode. But I was like, oh man, like this is going to be her downfall, right? And it still could be, especially when she shoots the other guy. I'm like, she's crashing out 100%. And then when I did not, there was no part of me that thought Cassian would be there.
Me
Zero. So when he comes like you just said, screen left before, like I was like, I felt elated, and then he just pulls up like the detonator, like I don't even know what movie from,
right?
Like, and
Dark
it's like
Knight.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and they're just like happy, like smiling at each other, hit that shit.
And
I was like,
music's pumping.
Beautiful. I like my emotions in that quick little, like, I don't know, 2-minute scene were all over the place. I thought it was a sick ending.
I rewatched the scene. Just straight up rewound it and rewatched it immediately.
I liked it.
Dan's going to throw some cold water on it.
No, I think, so first of all, I would agree with you and say, at first I was like, this isn't real. Also, watch the beginning of next episode be like her waking up. That'll be hilarious.
Oh my God.
Cold sweat. I would say, my question is just like, okay, well, like, how did she get in there? Like, is there security? Like, how is she in this man's office? Like, the how is kind of what was going in my head. And the other thing that I think kind of I find myself thinking about a lot is Cassian is very, very, very wanted, no? I feel like he just kind of cruises around and does what he wants and, like, isn't noticed. And I feel like there's so much attention on finding him. And they have a lot of, like, technology and stuff to do so. So it's, like, at times I'm just like, he's just walking around next to their facility there. And she's just strolling out. There's one guard, like...
Can I respond to your points?
Yes, for sure.
First one, in terms of what is the logic of getting up there, I think that this show is so great because there is a lot of inference required. And you mentioned Game of Thrones at the top. That always was the case in Game of Thrones, where you were kind of just catching up to a scene and things were just happening and you had to kind of go with them. And I think that our TV logic brains these days are used to the dumbing down of things and the explaining of step by step. Now, there's art in the step by step, but I'm happy when I can skip it sometimes. The second thing is that this is the New Year's night of the galaxy, or the Imperial Ball night. So we can credibly imagine that everyone's distracted, very much distracted. Now, does that mean that there should be more guards there? Maybe there should be, but I think that catching the Empire sleeping on this night makes sense to me.
That's fair. And yeah, I'm not looking for it to be dumbed down. I think, like, there's a difference between that and then, like, a seemingly impossible situation just being inexplicably executed. But I still enjoyed it. It was a good scene. And it was very satisfying. And, like, seeing them get an awful person back for her after she's been going through all this shit, and, like, that torture kind of led her down the entire path of everything that happened to her. So I think it was a really nice moment, and him to be able to support her there was really cool. And I really buy them as a couple, I think. And I think they have good chemistry, good, like, passion together. I like watching them act against one another.
And what you said before about, like, how maybe it was episode 1 actually, where you were like, Tony Gilroy doesn't do things gratuitously. This is one of those scenes where it's like, it's a rare gratuitous scene where it's like a hell yes scene in Andor, which we almost never get.
Right.
But it does make me nervous for down the line with what the consequences from doing something like this might be, where it feels gratuitous now, but it might end up not being that way in the next trio of episodes. So I don't know.
Because of the way the Empire responds to stuff like we talked about.
Or even how Luthen responds to things,
yeah.
You know?